Hey everybody, it's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right, Friday the 13th, part 6. And you're listening to thescenesnobs.com.
What is going on, everybody? Mick from the Scene Snobs here, and I'm here to talk to you about Bark Super Chewer Box, sponsor of this review. And yeah, if you don't know what Bark Super Chewer is, if they are perfect toys for your furry best friend, especially the one that likes to chew a lot. It is a subscription box that you can get each month that comes in, and it is filled with 2 toys, the really tough toys, 2 full-size bag of treats, 2 meaty chews. You can, with our affiliate link, you can choose the different promotion that you want to go with, percentage off your box or an extra toy in there, and others as well. In the box arrives usually within 5 days. It's 100% happy guarantee. If the toy isn't tough enough, they will replace it 100% free of charge. No proof needed, no time limits, no questions asked. Dog allergies, too many treats. Their crew of dog crazy people in Columbus, Ohio is here to make sure your Super Chewer box is perfect for your dog. I, of course, have my young pup, Reba, and we've gotten 2 boxes now. We got the Jurassic World box, which was awesome. She was playing with that. And the cool thing about this, and we've gotten a few toys from it now. This sack that was around this one toy that looks like a raptor's eye actually had another toy within it, which was a raptor's head, which I thought was pretty cool. And the last box was Italy themed, and they're not short on puns with their chompact car, their spicy meatball and with spaghetti, and their leaning tower of treatza, which our young Reba loves very much. She thought it was truly fantastic. So if you guys are interested, head on down to the description below or anywhere our links are, like thescenesnobs.com or linktree, and you can check out our affiliate link. Get your dogs the best with Bark Super Chewer Box. All right, guys, and bringing you the today's review is Bark Super Chewer Box, of course, of The Black Phone. I got to check this movie out, and thank you guys for watching right now. And we will get to your comments. The chicken, I see you, buddy. So if you have any questions or comments about the movie, stick with me, and we will get there. But to start it off, okay, so I know this movie came out a couple months ago. I had not had a chance to see it. I wanted to see it in theaters desperately. I love Scott Derrickson, Ethan Hawke. It seemed Joe Hill is a short story by Joe Hill, so like it just hit on all cylinders for me. Looked creepy, and it was right up my alley of like scary because being taken and confined, and those are things that like frighten me within movies. And I am a father of two sons, and the content of young boys being kidnapped and killed was horrifying. It's a horrifying thing to think about, and not one I try to think about. So watching this, and it preys on all of those childhood fears of a creepy guy with a dark windowless van who's kidnapping kids and murdering them. And it takes place in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s. It was one of those times I was really kind of scary for it. This movie was just that it was the right amount of terrifying. So me being a horror fan, wanted to go and see it. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to. But now it is out and streaming on Peacock. So if you guys want to check it out, you should. I will tell you the movie. Well, before I even get into that portion of it, I'm going to try and stay away from spoilers because I don't want to give anything up. I want you guys to see it and enjoy it for yourselves. But here's what the movie is ultimately about. A young boy named Finney and his sister are living with their father after the mother's untimely passing. And in their town, young boys are getting kidnapped and murdered, and the police are completely at a loss. They can't figure out what's going on. They're calling the kidnapper the grabber. And we get small snippets of these boys being taken by the grabber. It's very ominous, very very creepy, and how he shoots it. And as you kind of go on through it, and with through the whole story, we see Finney finally get taken, and it is heart-wrenching. Like it's scary. They do a really good job with it. And yeah, as you're watching this, it's very visceral in a lot of ways with playing on our fears of this, because I mean, let's face facts, nobody wants this to ever happen, but we know it does. Like, this is very rooted in true stories that we've always seen or heard on the news and things like that, or been told. And it really touches down on that, especially with the 70s vibe that it's going with, and kind of how it works. Yeah, it's creepy, man. And so the grabber takes Finney, puts him down in this like basement dungeon type facility that he has built and soundproof himself. And Finney's stuck down there, and the only thing there is a bed, a toilet, and an old black phone, a landline phone on the wall that doesn't work. It's disconnected. However, the phone starts to ring while Finney is in there, and he starts speaking with the past victims, and they start sharing with him their methods of trying to escape, to help him escape. It is supernatural in tone. It is scary. It touches down on a lot of things, and it is fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. Everything about it. Ethan Hawke just plays such a vicious, scary character as the grabber. His mask, who upon researching this movie, I realized was made by Tom Savini, which I thought was really cool. All iterations of his mask too, because it changes up, as you can see in the poster here. And it's like just a bottom part of his face, but there's all kind of parts to it, and it's very odd because like when we first see the mask, there's no mouth to it, and then later we see the mask, and there's like smaller horns on top, so it's like a full mask with smaller horns and no mouth to it. And then later when we see him, it's bigger horns and a smile like this, like exactly like that. And then at times we see it and it's a frowny mask and no top to it, and then it changes up a lot. And I would really love to know the significance of the mask and why it kept changing to what it was. Like, I got the frowny face because he was more into the way they played it out. And again, not wanting to give away spoilers of what was going on, but the naughty boy scenes, which I will leave alone, and not kind of elaborate on, was the frowny mask, and you got why it was, and then you got why when he was trying to get him to trust him, it was the smiling mask. But the significance of why it kept changing and how it kept changing, like it just, I would love to know what that was. I guess maybe it's told in a short story. I'm not sure. I have not read that story. I do like Joe Hill though, and I anxiously want to go check it out. Yeah, but overall, I just thought this was a really fantastic movie that was so well done. The cinematography, the direction, everything, the sound effects in this movie are perfect. So another element to this is the young sister, Finney's sister, has like a second sight or something that they don't elaborate on too much. But when she dreams, she can see the victims in their head and like gets clues to where they are. And like when her brother gets taken, she is trying desperately to keep having these dreams, having these sights to find him when she can. So, and help the police find him. And it was a very cool sort of element to it that added an extra outside perspective, because you can't be stuck inside the whole time, because you're learning almost nothing about the grabber. Little by little, you're learning a little bit, but ultimately you really know nothing. And everything is from Finney's point of view when he's in there and kind of what he has to do. But then they bring you to the outside to kind of alleviate some of that terror that's going on in you. And it's with the sister and what's happening with her and the father and stuff. So it's really well done. I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. It's one of the best movies of this year, I think, to come out. Uh, and once I put my list together at the end of the year, I definitely could see this being in the top 10 for sure. Um, yeah, It's in fact, let me just do my ranking now. My rank is 5 out of 5. It's 5 out of 5 black fans. I think we all know why. I picked Black Fan for this one, but yeah, it's just that good of a movie, and it keeps you, like really into it. And one thing that I really liked is there was a trope they used, and it was he has to unlock a door. It's a coded lock while the killer's well, he's the killer. We know he's a killer, but the grabber is sleeping right behind him. And I won't play up much more than that, but you think it's going to play out a certain way because it's being shot, and it doesn't play out that way. It plays out differently, and then it just kind of the way it goes. In fact, if I had any complaints about this movie, the only complaint would be a certain chase scene that happens within the movie, between the grabber and Finney, and it just like I'm watching this kid run away from him in a straight line, and I'm like, what is the matter with you? I don't think any kid would do that, but that's like my only complaint of it. Yeah, overall, I just think this is a truly great movie, and I think everybody should check it out, especially if you're a horror fan. It's worth it. Ethan Hawke, man, he just he, I don't think you see his face, or maybe you see his face for like a minute, but like not much, and you don't need to. It doesn't even sound like him. Like he does such a great job with it. Everybody did. It was wonderful. Let's get to some comments. See what everybody's saying. Chicken's here. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? Radar's here. How the hell are they going to make a sequel? It wraps up so perfect. Is it creepy? All right, let me answer the chicken first because I feel like we're going to be going down. And bear with me because I do want to talk about the possible sequel. Chicken, it is. I don't think creepy is the right word for it. It is downright terrifying. But yeah, creepy is definitely something that you can classify this as. It is insane how crazy it is. But they did it right. Like it fit, and it was good, and it worked in that way that truly great horror does. And yeah, and here's the thing, Radar, to kind of go to that. Would I want to see more? Yeah, I think I would. But the way you were, and again, not wanting to, oh, yeah, that's a good word. Unsettling is a very good word for this. Unsettling is a very good word. It is a very unsettling movie throughout. You never feel like safe during it. You're watching it, you are safe. But again, like being a parent of two children, it's nerve-wracking. I did I mean, I remember when I was a kid, uh, my parents always telling me like, my father was a cop in the city, and he was like, this just happens all the time, like you see it on news, blah blah blah. And like he was always beating into her head, like, this happens. And I watched a movie. It was based on a true story. It's called I Know My First Name is Steven, I think it was called. And that thing scared the hell out of me because I'm like, this kid got kidnapped for years. He didn't see his family, stuff like that. So I was like, I'm never talking to strangers. I'm never doing it. And I'm like, that had an effect on me to make sure that I never, and solidify that I would never do that. I tell you, I brought my kids down and I made them watch the kidnapping scene today. Just that scene. Just that scene. I didn't make them watch anything else. All the other stuff, all the not gory elements, but there's some gore to it, some scary, unsettling elements. I was like, "You're gonna watch this scene, and I never want you to go," because my one son's like, I was like, "If you see a stranger and he drops a bag of stuff, what do you do?" He's like, "Well, I help him because I don't want him to hurt his back if he's older or anything." And I'm like, "No, you never do that." So, I made them watch the scene just so that way it like gives them a little jolt, and then they ask questions, and then maybe they become more aware. And I think it works because we definitely had a very long talk afterwards. But anyway, to go back to this original comment that came up from Radar, how the hell are they going to make a sequel? It wraps so perfectly. It does really wrap up perfectly, and I think because of this story, Finney's story, like if you do a sequel to this, it's going to take away from it. I really do, because it is really well done. Could they do a sequel? Sure they can. They've done tons of sequels about, how many somehow killers in the past. And Jason's got a million sequels. So could you do it? Yeah. I don't know that I'd want to see it though. Although it would be Joe Hill, it would be Scott Derrickson, it would be probably Ethan Hawke. So maybe it could be interesting. Maybe we grow up and we see Finney turn into it. Who knows? I don't know. But the movie's pretty good. For closing it off. So I hope they don't. I kind of hope they don't do a sequel. The phone shows up in another house. Maybe. I don't know, but that's the thing. Like, I don't need that element. That element worked for what it was. And I think if you make the phone the thing that's connecting, like for me, Finney was touched just like his sister was. Like they both had that sight. And that was his, like, that's why the phone worked for him. And I think the connection there was the grabber, because they said the grabber could hear the phone too, but he ignores it. He pretends it's not, it doesn't work. And I got the feeling that the grabber knew that because like he was terrorized as a child, and maybe that phone like just didn't work for him or worked for him or something when he was a child. So that's why it'd be kind of cool to see the element of maybe Finney growing up to become something like that or something. But I don't know. But it's just it's a little. I don't want to give away too much here. I don't want to spoil anything. So I just feel like the sequel. Can you get creative? Sure, yeah, you can, absolutely. But I just don't want to see, because by comparison, sequels are always going to be diminished compared to the original, just because that's how fans think. I would hate to see it be diminished anymore story wise, just because they want to kind of capitalize on the first one's success. I don't think there needs to be, but I know Joe Hill does have an idea for the sequel. Just kind of wish they didn't, or they would have finished it a different way so they could have went with it. But that's my feeling on it. And, guys, I'd love to know what you guys think and more. Sound off in the comments. Let me know. Let's have a discussion about this. We can also talk about it over on the Discord. So you can head over and join that. Chicken says, when I watched the trailer for it, there was something so nostalgic about it. It does have that vibe because it does take place in the 70s that you're kind of like, all right, this feels nostalgic. There's a lot of things to it, a lot of elements to it that does. They captured a nostalgia of horror in the 70s, especially, I think. Kind of reminded me of almost like a prom night, something like that. Yeah, I think they did a really good job with it. I would definitely check it out, though. It's definitely worth the watch. Yeah, Black Phone was it was just a great movie. It's just a really well done. It feels like an old old school horror. It does. It does. They touch that. They used a lot of elements that I think worked and just flowed perfectly. That if this movie were made, in fact, the only thing I would say is like if this movie were made in the 70s, it wouldn't look as good. Yeah, like almost like the filmmaking's so much better now. It looks perfect. It looks like everything you imagine the 70s actually were. So if you go back, like, and they remade it, it'd probably have that glossy filter on the front and stuff that I couldn't stand. I never really liked that. But yeah, it's such a well done movie. Yeah, so guys, sound off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about it. And if you're gonna see it, or if you have seen it, or if you didn't like it or you did like it. I'd love to hear it. We are tonight going to be doing here on the here live. Casey and I are going to be covering my countdown, my horror movie countdown, all the way to Halloween. I started at 95 days before, and I'm watching at least one horror movie a day. And I will be putting out every day a different video about what I'm going to watch on TikTok, on YouTube, all over. So you can check those out. But every 20 or so, 15 or 20, I'm going to do a compilation video where I kind of go over all the movies that I watched and talk about them. Casey's joining me tonight for it. So yeah, make sure you guys check that out if you're watching this at a later date. It will be up on our YouTube channel. Probably, we start at 9 p.m. So it will be available anytime after that, and you can check them out. Let me know what you think. But you make sure to follow us. Guys, I want to thank our patrons. Thank you to our patron supporters. Tim Forbes, Paul Dunn, Stacy Peters, Matt Branch, Aaron Sturdivant, Chris Sales, Dan Gow, John Burhop, Ron Lippett, Jason Taylor, AJ Zyla, Dale Anderson, Chris Harris. Thank you so much for all your support on Patreon, helping us keep the lights on and keep getting the bills paid and everything else. Join if you would like on patreon.com, the Scene Snobs. There we have 3 tiers available. Help us support, and we truly appreciate it. And there are definitely some perks available to it. If you guys are also interested, please join up on the Snobs Nation Discord. The link's down below for everything, or on our link tree or on thescenesnobs.com. You can find it. And you join up, you talk. No Radar and Chicken are both on there who are commenting tonight. It's a lot of fun. We're talking about all different types of stuff. Sometimes we have movie watches, and so much more. So make sure that you join up on the Snobs Nation Discord. Make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. You can watch the Scene Snobs Podcast, which is live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m., which is our main flagship show, hosted by myself and Casey, the Man Plot. We also have other shows like Geek Fest Live, Real Combat, which is coming back for season 2 soon. Scene Snobs Reviews, which is what this is. And we review all new movies. And then we have Plot Roast, which is we review old bad movies, given to us by our Patreon supporters over on Patreon. So yeah, check that out, watch us, and we have other specials and videos that pop up on more. If you're interested in any merch, we do have merch available. We have our Embrace Absurdity logo. Let me explain it to you. Do you even snobs, bro? And the Scene Snobs logo, as well as what's the strongest ship in the fleet? Friendship. That's what it's all about. Scene Snobs merch store is open. You can find those links below as well. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. I think we're on Tumblr too. We're definitely on Tumblr and Pinterest and Instagram, and of course Twitter as well. So join up, follow us there. We appreciate you guys. And we're always glad to have you watch, and it means a lot to us that you do, because we try to keep up with everything and kind of how it's going. And if you guys are interested in being a part of the Snobs Nation, join up and let's have a good old time. Thank you guys for watching. Liz joined in. Let's see gonna try and watch it tomorrow. Please let me know what you think, Liz. Liz is a horror fan. Liz is also on the Discord. We're talking about a bunch of stuff and more on there. Thank you for all the support, Liz. Radar and Chicken, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for listening or watching at any time after this, and we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care.